before we can actually use our compound microscopes, we have to talk about a few things related to how we use them, because when we do labs involving the microscope, which we'll be doing several over the next few weeks, often the most common problem is people are not sure how to use them. People always ask questions, oh, I can't see anything, or it's not in focus. And so if we learn how to use them properly, then we can do a better job at finding specimens in the slide and so forth. So to start, we went over these parts yesterday. We talked about what they do. Let's just review these quickly. So starting on the left side of this diagram that you have in your notes, over here somewhere. What was this part called? The part you hold on to and rotate. Lindsay? No. No. Amanda? The nose piece. The part you rotate is called the nose piece. Attached to it are several lenses. Our microscopes have 3. Other microscopes sometimes have 4. Depends on the type of microscope. These are lenses, but they have a special name. Jordan? They're objective lenses. We call them the low, medium, and high power objective lens. These little things that hold our slide on this flat part. Casey? The whole thing is called the stage. The clips are called the stage clips. The part underneath the stage that regulates how much light goes through the slide. What's that thing called? Yeah?
Light source?
No, the light source is down here. That sends light, but this thing here actually controls how much of the light gets through, okay? Diaphragm. The diaphragm. Diaphragm. Below that is the light source. Let's go back up here. The part you looked through. We just named it a second ago. Natalia. Eyepiece. The long part that lets light go to the eyepiece. Lindsay. The body tube. Then we have the knobs that allow us to focus our image. Our microscopes, they're both built into one. But on the microscope in the diagram, they're 2 separate knobs. One larger, one smaller. The larger one, Emily? Adjustment. The coarse adjustment. The smaller one? Madeline? The fine adjustment. The part you grasp to carry your microscope around here, that's the arm. This flat piece you put slides on, Avery. The stage. And then the bottom. Aiden? The base. So those are the parts of our compound microscope. Let's look at some images. See if you can guess what these things are. Raise your hands if you want to take a guess. These are all things viewed under a compound microscope. Lindsay? What's that? No? It's actually a CD or DVD. Those are the layers.
I also thought it was one of those like rainbow candies strips.
What's that?
It looks like. What we
Again, it's under the microscope. Any guesses?
What we looking at the stairs or the.
No? Lindsay?
Cardboard?
No. But these little things are the hint in these things.
No, bird's nest?
It's a razor blade. It's something you would shave with. These are hairs. These are the blades of the razor.
Cute.
S'mores cereal? No.
Oh,
I know it's cereal. Is it cereal?
It's not cereal. It is something you eat.
Marshmallows? Chocolate?
No.
S'mores. You just said
No, this is microscopic, tiny little thing.
Razors?
Try it?
Wait. Mix?
No. Salt and pepper.
It's salt and pepper. I'm gonna get to look.
This one you're gonna know.
Velcro.
What is that?
Velcro.
Velcro, yeah. These are the hooks, the scratchy side of the Velcro is red, and these are the loops of thread that attach to it.
Are we gonna get to like look at stuff inside when you're using those today?
What about that?
Oh.
Yeah, toilet paper. No, nobody ever knows this one. Or even when I tell you what it is, nobody knows what it is.
I think I know. Rubber band.
Looks like rubber bands, and it's similar. These are nylon stockings. Those stockings that you might wear, like under a skirt or something. They're made of like these strands of nylon.
It looks like honey.
Like honey? It's a banana.
No. What? Oh,
It's a section of banana.
Oh, that's.
Please?
What's the bottom of the shoe?
It's a record.
What?
You know a record? Vinyl record?
Yeah.
The grooves that the needle goes in to play the music? That's what you got there.
Oh my God. Spaghetti.
No? It's a toothbrush. Those are the bristles of a toothbrush.
Oh, it doesn't. I was having this Q-tips. Oh, that. Ew. It's only for cleaning. I know this.
Hair? Eyelashes.
Oh, ew. My hand is done on fire.
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh.
Dental floss.
Ew. Someone must have gum stuck in all in their teeth.
All right. So, couple pieces of information about the compound microscope. First, compound. What does compound mean? What is a compound word? You probably learned in English. Avery? 2 words smashed together. 2 words. Doghouse, for example. A compound microscope, compound means 2 parts. It has 2 separate lenses which magnify an image, an eyepiece lens and the objective lens. So if I'm looking at a slide and I want to know how much my image is being magnified, if 2 lenses are magnifying, what I have to do to find the total amount of magnification is multiply the power of the eyepiece times the power of the lens. Okay? That's how you find the total magnification of a microscope. The eyepiece power times the objective power. So if I was looking at a microscope and it had a 10x eyepiece and it had a 30x objective lens selected, what would the total amount of magnification be?
300.
Yeah, we multiply those 2 numbers. 300. 10x eyepiece times a 30x objective. When we use microscopes and you're carrying them, you have to go get them from over here, wherever they're charging. You have to be careful. They're expensive. They're breakable. They're fragile. If you drop one, that would be very bad. So you always carry 2 hands. 1 hand under the base, 1 hand holding the arm, so you're sure that it's stable. Okay. So the last thing we need to talk about is, well, how do you actually see anything in these microscopes? How do we actually view a specimen? So we have a set of steps to follow. if you actually follow these steps every time you're trying to see something in a microscope, you will find it. You will see it in focus. But you have to follow steps. You don't just twist random knobs and put it on there randomly. You have to follow a set of steps. So the way that we do that, whenever you're going to be looking at something in the microscope, as you are in a couple minutes, you start, on our microscopes, we place our slide on the stage. So we have a slide we're going to be looking at. Our microscopes, they don't have the clips. They have this bracket sort of thing. It's spring-loaded. So you open it up, your slide goes in that little notch, and you let it go, and it'll hold your slide in place. So you start by putting your slide on the stage. And you always start with the low-power objective, the shortest lens, the lowest power. It's the red ones on our microscope. Okay? So you always want to begin on low power. You touch the outside, you don't touch the bottom because, yeah, you could get fingerprints on it. You put the slide so that it's centered on the stage. In the center of the stage, there is a hole. Not a hole, but it's covered in glass. There's an area for light to pass through. Okay? So when you look at this microscope, okay, put my slide on the stage. If you have a microscope that has stage clips, you just have to move the slide around with your fingers. Our microscopes have something different. They have these two knobs. They're called the mechanical stage. And the front knob, when you twist it, it moves the slide left and right. Okay? The back one moves it forward and backward. So you don't have to move it around with your hands. You just twist these knobs, and you want to get it so that the specimen you're trying to view is right in the middle of the stage, right where the light is shining through. Okay? So you set it up there. So you put it on, it's on low power. My slide is centered on that light. And then what I do is I start to look through, and I have to focus. Okay? And to focus on low power, we use these knobs, the coarse adjustment knob. What it does is it moves the stage up and down, because this will only be in focus when the stage is at the right part of the slide, and it's at the right depth. So you look through there until your object comes into focus. And you twist it back and forth, and then you'll see something, and it'll be clear. So that's how you start. Now you have to be sure what you're looking at is centered, and it's very clear before you move on. So you always get it in focus under low power first. Jordan?
What if you have glasses? Wouldn't your glasses like clink?
Yeah, they might. Try it with and without your glasses, see how it compares. Okay? All right. So often then, we want to switch to a higher power. We want to zoom in further and use a greater magnification. So while I'm still in low power, first I make sure what I want to see is centered. It's right in the middle of my field of view, what I'm seeing. Then I rotate, I leave everything the way it is. It's in focus, it's centered. I just rotate the nose piece to the medium power objective, the yellow one. That's 10x. Okay. I look through here, and it should almost be in focus. It should be very close. You may have to adjust it again a little bit with the coarse adjustment. I barely have to. I see my specimen in there. So you adjust it. You might have to move it around to be sure it's centered again, and you can see it clearly. And then you'll be viewing it under medium power. If you want to go even further to high power, the same procedure. You make sure it's centered. Make sure it's in focus, then you can rotate the nose piece to the blue high power objective. Under high power, you'll have to focus again. But under high power, you only use the fine adjustment, the smaller knob, okay? Because you only need to move it a tiny amount to get in focus there. So you switch to high power, and you focus with the fine adjustment. Just write fine, it shouldn't say coarse there. Okay, and you'll be viewing your object. That's how we do it. Now, a couple things. In these microscopes, built into the eyepiece is a pointer. It looks like a needle. When you look in there, it's supposed to be there. You use that so you could point something out to somebody. You could rotate it around and say, okay, look right where the pointer's pointing to point something out to somebody who's not looking at the microscope at that time. So those are our steps to viewing something under low, medium, or high power. So you get it under focus, under low power, make sure it's centered. Then we switch to medium, make sure it's centered and focused. Then we switch to high power and use only the fine adjustment. They say to try to keep both eyes open when you're viewing an object. Some people have trouble with that. I have trouble with that, but you can try that, see if it works for you.